Hello and welcome to Tutorials with Donovan. I make Godot games, most of which don't get finished, but it's pretty easy to get little bits and pieces from them. And today we're going to be making a 3D based controller. So I'm going to be using the compatibility rendering engine so that it runs on everything ever. So first, what you're gonna want to do is you're gonna want to make a Node 3D scene. I think we'll only need the icon.png texture. So what you want to do next is you want to stupid Godot 3 frame. Next, you want to make a character body, which I'll just do it again. Control A, character body 3D. Simple as that. Yeah, you can name it anything. I'm gonna name it player just to be simple about it. So I think this will be part of a series. So next you create a, here I'll do all these steps again. Next you create a collision shape 3D node. And for most games you'll want a capsule collider with about a 1.9 unit tall height so that it doesn't get stuck in doorways. Next you'll want a camera. And of course, I'll do that again in case you were looking away. You missed a step. You gotta rewind. And you want to set the height to 0.7. That is not the height. That's the height. So what I did was I scrolled down, I opened the transform tab, and I set the Y aspect of the position to... That's not... So right now, though, if we run our game... it's just gonna look like nothing. And that's because we're missing a few things. First of all, this is what our scene currently looks like. So, next we're adding a world environment. We're creating an environment. We are setting the background to be sky. The sky will be a sky. The material is procedural, and that's all the setup we have to do to make a world. Now, usually when I'm developing a player collider, I usually make it its own scene. So, to do that, you just have to hit Save Branch as Scene. And now the player is its own thing. So, we're going to go into the player scene. We're going to attach a script to it. Keep the basic movement template. We'll be modifying it. So, the first thing you're going to want to add is this. Set mouse mode captured. And I guess we do have to add movement mapping, so we may as well do that right now. So, okay, that went a bit fast. I clicked on the project tab, I clicked on project settings, and I went into the input map. Now, we're going to add the following instructions: forward, backward, left, right, and jump. Forward, I press the plus button, we bound to W. Backward, S. Left, A. Right, D. And jump to space. Your standard video game controls. Now, UI accept can be replaced with jump. UI left can be replaced with left. Right can be replaced with right. UI up can be replaced with forward. UI down can be replaced with backward. This creates basic movement. Now, we have to create this function. Autocomplete will definitely help you here. Now, if event is input event mouse motion and input dot mouse mode captured, then camera 3D dot rotation degrees dot x equals clamp. This is the weird part. Camera 3D dot rotation degrees dot x minus event dot relative y times 0.8. You can fine tune that variable yourself to -90 and 90. And rotation degrees dot y equals minus equals event dot relative dot x times 0. Once again, actually, we're going to make this into its own variable, so scroll up here, and we're actually going to make these not constants. Well, what I'm doing here is export category movement in control, and we're going to change these to export var speed and export var jump velocity. Now, what? That's what I did wrong. Okay, so now you have a movement control section, and we're gonna create another export sensitivity, and now you have a nice little slider you can configure. In the long run, you'll want to make this a user-defined setting, though, so that players can change it themselves. But for now, that should work. So, back in the main scene, I went from player to test scene. I'm going to create a CSG box 3D. Now, for production game development, this isn't recommended, but this isn't a production. So what we're going to be doing is we're setting texture to icon. Okay, let's run that back. I created a box, I clicked on the box, I clicked on material, and I set it to standard material 3D. Then I opened the tab, I pressed albedo, I pressed texture, I pressed quick load, and I clicked on the icon. Now, this is great and all, but you're going to want to scroll down, click on UV1, and click on triplanar. It's going to mess itself up. That's fine. It can be like that because we're going to be stretching it out now. I'm holding control while I'm doing this so that it grids evenly. So you can see it's only increasing by powers of 2. And that's beneficial. Yeah, I guess. Silly me, I turned off the recording. So here is a 3D basic FPS controller at the moment. On Linux, it's going to be a lot more jittery for some reason. There's no pausing. So you want to add pausing, I want to add pausing. We are opening project settings, going into the input map, and adding a pause bind. We're making that escape. Now we're going to add process. If input is action just pressed, pause. If input mouse mode equals input mouse mode capture, then input set mode mouse mode visible, else set captured. Now, a while ago, I actually solved this issue with alert function, so we're gonna go do that. The code is right here. So, don't worry, I'm going to make a GitHub repo. All this code's going to be in there. Ideal CX equals 0.0. Well, B1 equals 0.0. And the interpolation rate I have set by default is 10. So now instead of setting these, as you can see, what I did was this. And now when you run the scene, your mouse movement's going to be nice and smooth. So that's just your basic movement controller. I'm just gonna like put together a level real quick. Don't mind me. And when I'm duplicating these, what I'm doing is I'm pressing Control D. Alrighty, so what I'm actually gonna end up doing is something that will absolutely, dang, it's like, you see, this is the problem with using a slope made out of CSG shapes, is this stupid little lip. Luckily, that's what we invented capsule colliders for. I'm just gonna parent these together so that, oh yeah, it always does that. It's annoying, but it just is how it is, I guess. But hey, at the same time, this means we can make this happen, which is kind of the whole purpose for me doing that, and for me reparenting it. Today is not a new day. It's only 8:30 p.m. Okay, yeah, this is not gonna work. Never mind, I wanted to add walls to it, but I guess you could just do that instead. So what I did was I just... that. I'm also making this into... oh no, oh dear. Well, I guess if I'm doing that, I might as well just keep it separate. So, I'm just gonna make a nice little haul of the features we've added thus far. And, I guess every episode, if this becomes a series... okay, if this becomes a multi-episode length group of episodes, yeah, my voice assistant just triggered, and I don't want that during your recording. So I'll be cutting that out and leaving the explanation in. How funny. So... and... almost... alright. Yeah, this looks pretty good. So this is the room I designed while you guys were off doing whatever. Like I said, we could expand on this in the future. Like, for example, something I might want to do right now is turn this into one of these where it can go down and stuff. But honestly, in my opinion, this room could use a little lighting. So up next, we're making an Omni light. That is, if you want to make this room and not anything special. Kidding. Everyone's game design is special in its own right. Turning on shadows will make it instantly brighter. More computationally expensive, though. And, yeah, I guess that's all we're going to be doing this episode. So for the rest of the episode, I guess I'm just going to be doing this, and then this, and then this, and then... So, as you can see, I made it a nice slice through the box collider. And at the same time, I'm filling in the nice slice I just made, extending it down the other direction and continuing it. And hey, what do you know? Now we've got a passageway under the world. And like I said, this would be how you make like a multi-floor design. So yeah, designing a whole floor plan wasn't exactly in my idea for this level, for this episode, but the more concepts you learn, the merrier, I guess. So, I guess we're making a two-floored building now. So coming up next, here's how to make a basement. So yeah, I'm just gonna let you watch and learn, and watch and learn. Uh-oh, I have introduced Z fighting to the main room. That doesn't look visually appealing. There we go. And you know, I'm just gonna optimize the heck out of this level real quick. There we go. Optimization complete. Don't mind the Z fighting down here. You won't be able to see it. I'm pretty confident in that. So, the way I'm going to confront this issue is by duplicating CSG box 3 and putting it inside of 11 and 12. Moving it down a little. So, remember how I used subtraction to make the hole earlier? Yeah, we're doing that to the entire staircase. Now, occasionally, using subtraction nodes frequently can cause disorientation to the game engine and ruin your level design, but in this case, since we're doing something simple and basic, it won't. So, now that we've designed the level, we can playtest it. Not sweet. Oh, I've made a slope too steep to climb. How embarrassing. Don't worry. Making mistakes is part of the coding process. So what we're doing next is we're adjusting it by a few degrees. That's literally all we're doing next. I'm noticing the tighter slope still exists due to how I constructed this construction. Hold on, what? What if you've been rotated 5 degrees in the wrong axis? So yeah, coding is mostly a process of just kind of fine-tuning until you get it right, in my opinion. Anyone who codes right the first time, you're probably doing it wrong. Unless you're, like, super freaking skilled. In that case, I'm jealous. Nobody deserves the right to be good enough at coding to not make a single mistake. Alright. Now we, in theory, have a multi-floored area. So here's the top floor. And here's the bottom floor. It's got that nice floaty Godot Engine feel that comes from the default character controller. Now you can add custom textures, do whatever. If you're really looking on how to make a controller, here's your starting point. But, that's it, and, hold on, we're forgetting something. I forgot. The reason I built this room was to do this thing. Now, the reason I'm making a cube is because this is where we'll be storing all our achievements. Yippee! I'm making you look like a preschooler by doing this. So we're just gonna clear the material real quick. Or we're actually gonna set to white so that it's brighter. Yeah, this is gonna be our pedestal for future accomplishment. The pedestal for future accomplishments. Wow. Actually, the base should be dark, and the pedestal itself should be light. And that's be adding a CSG mesh and divide by 2. Divide by 2. This is our trophy. Trophy 1. Real quick, I am just going to turn this into what I usually call an instance, because it's a single version of one object that can be duplicated over and over as a reference. That's why I call it an instance. So here's our first trophy for the first course. Let's just frick. Okay, I guess this is the main scene now. That's fine. This is our trophy. It's a little player. Yippee! Yippee! Yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial. If you like it, please let me know, or else I won't do any more of these, because I don't know if I want to waste my time if nobody's gonna watch. Goodbye!